A faint, crackling voice came over the radio, and the park rangers exchanged puzzled glances. This wasn't the usual chatter. It was a frequency only park rangers knew, a secure line for emergencies and important communication. Their hearts raced as they recognized the voice. It was Ethan. Ethan had disappeared months earlier, but here he was. It boggles the mind to consider how someone, especially a ranger with Ethan's background, could simply vanish. But, as history has shown time and again, he isn't alone in this unsettling fate. Countless individuals across various national parks seem to disappear without a trace. What mysteries lie beneath the serene landscapes of these parks? The enigma surrounding Ethan Wallace's disappearance is a testament to this dark underbelly of national parks. As a seasoned park ranger, Ethan wasn't just familiar with the terrain of the Grand Teton National Park. He was an expert, trained to survive in extreme conditions, knowledgeable about local wildlife, and equipped with tools of the trade. Ethan was arguably one of the last people one would expect to disappear.
Welcome back, and please enjoy the story that made it into our #1 spot for 1984. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future episodes. Now, back to the show.
Ethan's typical day would start with a sunrise patrol, ensuring that trails were clear and safe for hikers. He was known for his amiable nature, often stopping to offer advice to campers, educate school groups about the ecosystem, or simply chat with regulars who frequented the park. His unmatched dedication made him a popular figure among the park goers. And it wasn't just the humans. Ethan had a keen sense of the local wildlife. From rescuing injured animals to understanding the migratory patterns of birds, his connection with nature was profound. But on that fateful day, Ethan didn't return from his patrol. Initially, it was assumed he might have camped out overnight, something he occasionally did. But when 48 hours passed with no word, alarms were raised. What followed was one of the most extensive search and rescue operations in the history of national parks. Hundreds of volunteers, local police, fellow rangers, and even the National Guard combed through the vast expanse of the Grand Teton. They utilized everything from drones to sniffer dogs, hoping against hope to find some trace of him. For weeks the park echoed with the sounds of search parties calling out Ethan's name, the drone of helicopters overhead, and the constant murmur of walkie-talkies. Base camps were set up at various intervals, and maps dotted with search grids became a common sight. Every day as the sun set, a glimmer of hope faded. The mountain ranges, rivers, and dense forests of the Grand Teton, which Ethan loved so dearly, held onto their secret. Theories began to sprout. Some said Ethan might have encountered a wild animal, while others believed he may have fallen into a concealed crevice or lost his way in a sudden snowstorm. And yet, no signs, no tracks, no clues. Ethan, with all his expertise, seemed to have vanished into thin air. And then, one night, the park rangers gathered around their radios at the ranger station. It was a nightly task, checking in on the various frequencies used to communicate within the park. They were used to hearing the occasional chatter from fellow rangers, discussing their duties and reporting in from different areas of the vast wilderness. But tonight was different. This was the night they heard Ethan. His sudden and unexplained vanishing had left a void within the tight-knit ranger community. But here he was, reaching out on a channel that only they were privy to. "Ethan, is that you?" one of the rangers called into the radio, his voice trembling with a mixture of hope and uncertainty. A crackling pause filled the airwaves before Ethan's voice returned, weak but unmistakable. "Yeah, it's me," he replied, his tone filled with exhaustion and relief. The rangers quickly triangulated the signal's origin. It was coming from a remote and well-kept secret location within the park. Only they knew of this hidden spot. It was a sanctuary of sorts where they would gather during off-duty hours to share stories, relax, and connect with the natural world. Without hesitation, the rangers gathered their gear, their sense of duty driving them forward. They knew that reaching this spot was no easy feat, hidden deep within the heart of the park. They would have to trek through rugged terrain, crossing rivers and navigating dense underbrush. But they had to find Ethan, to uncover the mystery of his disappearance and bring him home. As they ventured deeper into the wilderness, the rangers couldn't help but wonder what had happened to their fellow ranger during these long months. Had he been lost and trying to find his way back all this time, or had he been hiding for reasons only he knew? The anxiety was palpable, but their determination to find him remained unwavering. Hours passed, and they finally arrived at the secret spot. There, beneath the canopy of ancient trees, they found Ethan, sitting on a mossy log, his face weathered and his clothes tattered. He looked up as they approached, his eyes filled with a mixture of gratitude and sadness. The rangers didn't bombard him with questions. Instead, they offered food, water, and a sense of companionship. They knew that whatever had brought Ethan to this point, he needed time to share his story on his terms. Ethan took a deep breath and began to speak, recounting the harrowing tale of his disappearance, the trials he had faced, and the unexpected turn of events that had led him to this hidden sanctuary. The night grew darker around them, but the park rangers listened intently, realizing that they were now a part of a story that extended far beyond their knowledge of the wilderness. As Ethan spoke, the bonds of camaraderie among them deepened, and the mysteries of the forest seemed to intertwine with the mysteries of the human heart. And there, in that secret spot, under the watchful eyes of the ancient trees, they found not only their lost friend, but also a renewed sense of purpose as park rangers. The wilderness held its secrets, but it also held the power to heal and unite those who called it home. The rest of Ethan's story would have to wait for another day, but for now, they were together again, in the heart of the wild, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As time passed, Ethan's story slowly unfolded. He spoke of a hidden menace lurking deep within the park, a secret operation involved in illegal uranium mining, the kind used in the most destructive weapons on Earth, nuclear bombs. Ethan's journey had taken a startling turn when he had come across a suspicious hiker while on one of his patrols. Something about the man's behavior had set off alarm bells in Ethan's experienced ranger mind. He began to follow the hiker discreetly, keeping his distance and observing from the shadows. As the days turned into weeks, Ethan watched the hiker's movements, piecing together a disturbing puzzle. The man was part of an organization that had infiltrated the park, using the guise of hikers and visitors to camouflage their nefarious activities. They were exploiting the park's remoteness to mine uranium illegally, hidden away from prying eyes and government scrutiny. Ethan, knowing the gravity of what he had uncovered, had been meticulously collecting evidence. He had surreptitiously photographed the mining operation, documented their routes, and even recorded conversations when he could. But the deeper he delved into their world, the more dangerous it became. "They got wind of what I was doing," Ethan admitted, his voice trembling with the memory of the threats that had pursued him. "I had to make them believe I was gone. I couldn't trust any hiker or visitor. I had to disappear to keep their true colors hidden and continue collecting proof." The park rangers exchanged grim glances, realizing the enormity of the situation. Not only had they found their lost comrade, but they had stumbled upon a conspiracy that threatened not just the park, but national security. The illegal mining of uranium was a grave offense with potentially catastrophic consequences. As the night grew darker, Ethan's revelation hung heavily in the air. The rangers knew that they were now faced with a choice. Protecting the park and its pristine wilderness meant delving into a world of danger and intrigue to expose the hidden threat. Ethan's eyes met theirs, filled with determination and resolve. "We need to stop them," he said, his voice firm, "but it won't be easy. They're ruthless, and they won't hesitate to eliminate anyone who gets in their way." With the moon casting long shadows and the ancient trees bearing witness, the park rangers made a silent pact to unearth the truth and bring those responsible to justice. Their journey had taken an unexpected turn, one that would test their courage, resourcefulness, and unity. And so, under the cover of night, they began to plan their next move, determined to confront the darkness that lurked deep within the park and to safeguard the wilderness they had sworn to protect. The echoes of their whispered strategies blended with the rustling leaves and the hushed secrets of the forest, setting the stage for a perilous adventure that would unfold in the heart of the wild. Under the shroud of darkness, the park rangers huddled together to craft a daring plan that would expose the illegal uranium mining operation without putting anyone in harm's way. It had to be ingenious, audacious, and, if possible, a little humorous to outwit the cunning mining operatives. Ethan, with his intimate knowledge of the park and the operation, took the lead. "Here's the deal," he began, his eyes gleaming with a hint of mischief. "We need to make the world believe that the park is haunted by supernatural forces, ghosts, UFOs, you name it. If we can get the public and media's attention focused on the spooky happenings here, it'll scare the miners away, and they'll think twice before returning." The rangers exchanged bemused glances, but they couldn't deny the brilliance of Ethan's plan. After all, who would want to mine uranium in a place teeming with otherworldly phenomena? And so they set their plan in motion. Their first step was to create eerie and inexplicable occurrences within the park. They rigged simple devices to make mysterious sounds, rustling leaves, ghostly whispers, and unexplained lights in the night sky. They even crafted UFO-like objects from old camping gear, which they'd release into the sky at the right moments. As the days passed, rumors began to circulate among hikers and visitors. Tales of strange occurrences spread like wildfire, drawing curious paranormal enthusiasts to the park. News reporters and bloggers soon descended upon the area, eager to document these events. The rangers played their roles to perfection, dressing up in outlandish costumes and disguises as they perpetuated the myths. They even staged a ghostly procession through the forest one night with eerie chants and glowing lanterns, which left the onlookers both mystified and terrified. Meanwhile, Ethan discreetly planted his evidence of the illegal mining operation near the site of one of their ghostly encounters. It was a stroke of genius, as no one dared to venture close enough to discover the truth amid the spooky happenings. The media frenzy reached a fever pitch, with news outlets broadcasting stories of the haunted park. Social media was ablaze with photos, videos, and wild theories about the supernatural activity. The miners, spooked by the widespread attention, began to evacuate their operation, fearing they had stumbled upon some cursed land. The rangers, observing the commotion from the shadows, couldn't help but grin at their own cleverness. Their plan had worked beyond their wildest expectations. The illegal mining operation was exposed to the world without anyone getting harmed, and the park's reputation as a haunted haven was firmly established. As the last of the miners fled, leaving their equipment behind, the rangers felt a profound sense of victory. They had protected their beloved park, upheld the law, and shown that humor and cunning could triumph over greed and exploitation. Ethan turned to his comrades, a twinkle in his eye. "Well, that's one way to put the park back in park, rangers," he quipped, and the group erupted in laughter, their spirits buoyed by the success of their extraordinary plan. And so, under the watchful gaze of the ancient trees, the park rangers continued to safeguard the wilderness they loved, knowing that their camaraderie, resourcefulness, and a touch of humor could conquer even the darkest of threats.
That's all for now. Please let us know what you think. Please also like and subscribe. Thanks, and see you soon.